Will your relationship stand the test of time? Well, according to hercampus.com, there are 6 signs that your relationship will not be long-term that we are going to break down for you today. And the first one I already have a little bit of an issue with because it is you mistake comfort for love. Now, what they say is, quote, evaluate if just feeling okay within your relationship is where you want to be. Love should be the most gratifying feeling in the world and should never be confused with complacency. So they're talking about those relationships where you stay together for a long time with someone because you're afraid of putting yourself out there. Because you become so comfortable in the relationship that you're in. However, what I would interject to that argument is that I think that when you love someone and when you have a long-term relationship, comfort is a natural consequence of that sort of long-term love, which they also know. They also say it's important to feel comfortable in your relationship. But I think a lot of times that comforting love is just a result of love growing over time in a long-term relationship. However, it is complacency and love should be separate. I agree with that.
What Grace is talking about is that she has a really nasty farting habit. And it's a big deal for her to overcome in her relationships for her to be comfortable enough that she can do that.
Okay, and number 2, what they point out is you feel like a secret. So Ashley Drayton at Georgia State University, a graduate, she says, quote, if he's content with having a situationship staying in the house instead of going on dates, he seems to be hiding you or parts of his life. He doesn't put a lot of effort into things regarding you, it's not going anywhere. So they think that if you feel like a secret, if the relationship is under wraps, then it does not have long-term staying power.
Okay, first of all, can I just interject here and ask a very serious question that you probably don't know the answer to, but I will ask it anyway because it's a point I'm trying to make.
The meaning of life?
How did the world start? No. Who the fuck wrote this article? What is she, 12?
No,
like she is, okay, I'm sorry, it's hercampus.com, okay? Reputable news source, I guess, maybe. We have Teen Vogue acting like the final bastion of political journalism nowadays. So maybe Her Campus has a lot to say about relationship advice. What do you know?
Some really good articles.
What do you know about relationships if you're in a college, if you're on college? If you're on college campuses.
If you're in college?
If you're in college, oncology.
Oh my God.
All I'm saying is it doesn't seem like this person has a lot of life experience where she's coming from.
There are a number of different people that contribute to this list.
Okay, Georgia sophomore contributed, if you feel like a secret, it just seems like you might be insecure about the relationship that you're in, Georgia sophomore. I'm just saying, cause look, a lot of times, and you will attest to this, especially because you never go out. You do this frequently, but you keep me a secret. She keeps our relationship a secret. That's what I just realized, because you do go out, you just don't go out with me.
That's not true.
Oh my God, is it because I'm a breeder?
No, okay.
Is that what it is?
Can I get through the list?
Sorry, go on.
Number 3, you give, and they take, and they take. I like how I just do that like I'm insinuating something to you. I'm not. So what one of the contributors says, quote, if your significant other expects you to plan your entire life around them, such as school, work, and friends, it's not going to last too long. I think this is actually a very good point. If you find early on in the relationship that you are with someone who really wants you to be on their schedule, then it's probably not gonna work because a key element to any successful relationship is compromising and finding a good, happy middle ground. So that's a good point. Number 4, I see we have no objections. This is good. I like seeing which ones you object to. Number 4, your friends and family can tell it won't last. Did you hear number 4? That's an important one for you. You can tell your friends and family can tell.
Fuck you, Grace.
No, listen. Your friends and family can tell that it won't last. I think this is really important. So what they explain in this number 4 criteria, they say you may have that one friend who doubts every relationship you get into. Fair to point out. But if the overwhelming majority of your friends and family do not see things working out for the best, you should at least listen to them as to why. I completely agree with that because friendship, and I've said this before, there's hopefully no money involved, there's no sex involved. When you're friends with someone, you're friends with them because you genuinely care about the well-being of their heart and mind.
Except for Grace and I, there's a lot of sex involved in our friendship.
Well, obviously we
I'm
are
in a really I'm in a really weird mood today.
You're in a trolling Grace mood today.
I know,
you just woke up and you're like, let's just troll all of Grace's nice stories that she picked.
Yeah.
So number 5 is you try to justify bad behavior. Oh, this is a huge one for me. If you ever try and explain, if you ever find making excuses for your significant other, be like, I'm sorry she's just doing this, or I'm sorry he's just this way, then that's, I think, a telltale sign. They say, quote, your significant other is not immune from making mistakes. It's completely understandable understandable to forgive small mistakes, but your significant other should not get a free pass on everything. And I think that when you have maybe your significant others out, they make a scene somewhere, or they make people feel really uncomfortable, and then you are the one having to explain that instead of them making an apology and taking responsibility for their actions. It's a sign that you're going to be handling the brunt of the responsibility and accountability in the relationship.
About that? Yeah. Can we talk about that instead of you just going through the bullet points?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. You're really adamant about getting it across. So I want to make sure that we're good.
But we can land on number 5 for a little bit.
In order to bring this back to our personal experiences, which I assume our audience wants to hear about.
Give the people what they want.
Would you say that I ever justified my crazy ex-girlfriend's bad behavior? Or was I largely on your side, but we did have...
Largely on my side?
Like on the side of my friends, I would be like, I understand where you guys are coming from. You guys are right. Whenever something occurred, like an incident occurred.
Oh, okay.
However, we do know a particular individual that would consistently, and still to this day, does that exact same thing, even though they are now not dating one another, the person and the devil.
Well, okay.
One of our friends was dating the devil. Okay. Like actually, like a succubus.
In that statement, there is a lot to unpack. And there's a lot of veiled secrecy for our viewers, but just trust that it's juicy and you'll never understand it. So what I would say to your point, one, I don't think it's fair to call any ex of anyone's, at least within our circle of friends, a crazy ex person, because you just don't know whatever battle someone's walking through. You just don't. Like, were there actions that were questionable and hurtful to you that made me sad for you as a friend? Absolutely. But
I wasn't referring. I know. I said my ex-girlfriend is crazy. She was not. She was normal. She was just normal, but like going through some stuff.
It was two
but
incompatible people that were still passionate.
Okay, what about calling them devils if they are literally the devil?
Well, the person that you're discussing, I don't like her, but that's fine. But is she actually Lucifer? We can't prove that.
Okay, have you seen her and Lucifer in the same room at the same time? I ask you.
Okay. So fair point. In both the situations that we are alluding to that you guys are like, what the fuck are they talking about? There was a lot of explanations and excuses made on your behalf and on this other person's behalf for their behavior. And that sucks. And that sucks to put someone in a position where they have to go to their friends or their family and be like, I'm so sorry that this happened. She just doesn't understand blank, blank, blank. And
I was trying to draw a contrast between me and how our other friend handled their now ex. I was trying to say that like the way I handled it, I think was I was rational and open to criticism about it, and I also took your sides, like my friends' sides, because I genuinely agree with that point, the friends and family point.
Yeah.
Whereas we had another person who alienated himself completely from all groups of friends and all social life in general because he was constantly finding himself justifying. Like he was constantly finding himself justifying the bad behavior of their significant other, which is really dangerous because sometimes when you get in a relationship like that, unfortunately, not all friends are going to be as understanding as Grace and I. And you will find yourself lonely after that toxic relationship hopefully one day ends.
I don't know how understanding I was, but that brings us to number 6.
Do it.
Your core values do not align. Now, to expand on this, they say the important thing to remember is even though you and your significant other have differences, there should be mutual respect for each other's beliefs. You should never feel ashamed or scared to practice your beliefs because your significant other believes the opposite. So obviously what comes to mind is religion, but other things can come to the forefront as well. Political differences, just differences about-
Don't I know it, brother?
What?
Don't I know it, sister?
Oh, I was gonna be like, don't you know it, brother? I was like,
I mean, you're gray gender. Shut up.
Is that a way?
So I can't misgender you.
Before.
No, but that's a statement. You don't I know it, brother?
Is that we're saying that now? That's a thing we say. I think this is very important and something that is very profound to me in my current relationship is that we do share a lot of those core important values. And it can be as simple as just allocating
lesbianism.
No.
And the spreading of lesbianism as a scourge on American soil.
No, not that second part, but the first part, being gay, definitely a core value that we value. A core value that we value so much. It's such a deeply valued value of ours. Anyway.
I was just kidding. I didn't actually think that was a value.
It is, but also
not.
other things
It's
like respecting
just you.
that everyone needs time to themselves and just owning yourself as an individual and then coming together as a team. But also for us, religion is another important one. So I think having shared core values are important. And if you find yourself really coming from two very opposed points of views, especially on something that you hold very fast and dear, that could come up to be an issue.
I have a mountain of information I'm just aching to yell out to the camera about that particular subject, which I largely agree with. But then there are also instances where relationships, and this is obviously talking about like, romantic relationships, but for friendships, I largely disagree with that statement. I almost all of my friends, including you, almost all of my close friends have in some way, shape or form, a very different identity than I do, and also a very different opinion or very different values than I do on very important subjects, whether it be politics, not with you, but with religion, for example. You and I are in stark contrast to one another as far as our opinions on organized religion go, because you are a Christian and you're proud of it. But I love that and I respect that. And I think you can achieve that with friendships. Maybe you can achieve that with relationships. I tried. Both of my exes in Los Angeles were blonde Southern conservative girls that were both somewhat religious. One was really religious and the other one wasn't. Very political. We disagreed heavily on everything, which ultimately led to the demise of our relationship. So I do agree with that point for romantic involvements.
Yeah.
Not necessarily for friendships.
No, I think it's good to have
you should surround yourself with
friends.
Interesting and different people.
Just like Lincoln, a team of rivals, because I view my life just like Abraham Lincoln's, and that's why I don't go to the theater. Guys, we want to hear from you in the comment section below. What do you think about these 6 signs that your relationship won't last? Do you have anything to add to the list? Do you think they're off base at all? Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and we'll see you next time on Pop Trigger.